Bangladesh, meaning the land of Bengal, is a country in South Asia. The Bengal tiger is unique to this region, and the country's name originates from this. This country, which was under British colonial rule for many years, is at the center of Hindu and Buddhist tradition, and Islamic culture is also very prevalent there. The country covers an area of 147,550 square kilometers, which is not a small size compared to European countries. It has enough land. But the Bangladesh biggest problem lies elsewhere. According to official census data from 2022, over 165 million people live in this country, making Bangladesh a strange and complex country due to issues arising from overpopulation. Similar to India, the population explosion in Bangladesh has led to a domino effect of chaos, which we will explore in detail. Bangladesh is best known for its tropical coast and dense forests, providing it with extraordinary natural beauty. However, this is not the whole picture of the country. Dealing with dangerous insects due to environmental pollution has become an integral part of life for the people of Bangladesh, and urban areas are starkly different from the promotional films of country's natural beauty. The capital of Bangladesh is Dhaka, the most developed urban residential area in the country. With a population over 15 million, it is the busiest city in Bangladesh and the 9th most populous city in the world. On the other hand, Bangladesh is also a country of earthquake and several floods. So when you travel to this country, don't be surprised if you witness an earthquake or other natural disasters like floods. In a country with 10 people per square meter, experiencing a disaster like an earthquake or flood can be truly terrifying. Bangladesh is located in South Asia and shares borders with Myanmar and India. The Bengali culture is closely related to Indian culture, as the country emerged entirely from the collapse of Indian empires in the past. Although its people lean toward Islamic culture after the 12th century, they have never been completely separated from Indian culture, which has always been alongside them. In 1900, the geography of Bangladesh was such that Muslims were predominant in the east and Hindus were concentrated in the west. Until 1991, this polarization continued, and the division deepened. In the last 30 years, the people of Bangladesh have tried to set aside hostilities and make efforts to unite and improve the country's situation. But the factors like tsunamis, floods, and frequent earthquakes have hindered these goals. The biggest issue holding the country back is undoubtedly its large population. The official language in Bangladesh is Bengali, but the government uses English in official communication and business contracts. Bangladesh is one of the poorest countries in the world. People work for less than $3 a day, often using the most basic tools available. The minimum base salary in the country is about $95, placing Bangladesh among the cheapest labor markets in the world. Given this, do you think large multinational corporations would miss this opportunity? No, definitely not. All the major luxury brands you can think of have production factories in Bangladesh, manufacturing their products at the lowest cost and then shipping them to their stores worldwide, selling at high prices. To put it simply, an employer can hire 10 to 15 workers in Bangladesh for the same wage as one worker in the United States. Additionally, shipbuilding companies that see cheap labor and managerial corruption in Bangladesh as an opportunity scrap their old ships using the poor people of this country, polluting Bangladesh seas and shores with hazardous chemicals. One of the major reasons for the unhealthy air and seas in the country is this industrial waste. The port city of Chittagong is one of the world's largest shipbreaking yards, appearing from space as a vast graveyard of ships awaiting dismantling. Maritime companies scrap ships over 25 years old in these docks and send the valuable materials back to their home countries. In the end, the people are left with environmental pollution and various respiratory and cancer disease. Unfortunately, these workers have no choice but to accept these conditions. With 20 million unemployed people in the country, a vacancy for worker will be filled within few hours. Walking through the capital, Dhaka, you will see that people, regardless of gender, carry heavy objects on their heads. This is because there are often no means to transport various items, so they're forced to carry them on their heads. Additionally, in the main streets, you'll see hundreds of tangled cables hanging overhead, connected to a main power pole, a sign that shows the country is at least 50 years behind the technological growth. Traffic flow in the streets of Bangladesh is reminiscent of roads in Vietnam and India. The streets are never empty and there are always vehicles in motion. If you're not careful, there's a high chance you might be hit by a motorcycle or a car. In Bangladesh, there are no underpasses or pedestrian bridge for crossing the street, so pedestrians face life-threatening risk when trying to cross from one side to another. If you live near the streets, the noise from car horns and the constant hustle and bustle of people never ceases. In many city intersections, although traffic flows from all four sides, there are no traffic lights, and the movement of vehicles is managed solely by traffic police. Public transport in the city relies on buses that are 20 to 30 years old. The appearance and seats of these buses are often very dirty and grimy. If you're looking for an alternative mode of transportation in the city, there are bicycles that function as taxis, but unfortunately, these bicycles are entirely pedal-powered and lack motors. It is estimated that there are over 30 million of these bicycle taxis in the country, and many people in Bangladesh make a living through them. In the main square and the streets, there are numerous cyclists, and in the event of an accident between two drivers, it will likely result in a major altercation. The street vendors frequently clash and quarrel as well. Bangladeshis in general are irritable people who quickly lose their temper, a result of overpopulation and poverty, which often leads to chaos in every corner of the city. This way of life is certainly not something anyone would desire. When you wander through the streets and markets of Bangladesh, you will encounter many street vendors selling mostly food items from their carts. However, these carts and their surroundings are visibly and significantly unhygienic, especially since the vendor or cook have disheveled hair and unshaven faces as they prepare food with their hands. As a tourist in Bangladesh, you will likely avoid eating anything on the street due to serious concerns for your health. When traveling to various cities in Bangladesh, you will see a high level of construction and building activity. The main reason for this is the country's constant population growth, necessitating the continuous construction of a new apartment to provide housing. Consequently, one of the serious urban problems in Bangladesh is air pollution from dust, leading to respiratory and lung disease. Bangladesh can be considered a blend of Indian and Vietnamese culture and lifestyle. The architecture of streets and alleys, busy traffic, cheap labor, and street food closely resemble Vietnam, while the appearance and ethnic root of people reflect more of India. In Bangladesh, Fridays and Saturdays are official holidays, with the new week beginning on Sunday. This results in unbearable crowding on the streets during those holidays. Another unpleasant issue in Bangladesh is the complete freedom of prostitution. The government does not intervene or take action against those engaged in this practice, significantly impacting the moral values of the society. Consequently, being a woman in Bangladesh brings significant disadvantages. Most families in this struggling country push their daughters towards prostitution rather than sending them to school hoping for a better life. Prostitution is so widespread that there are areas in the city with hotels dedicated to this activity, which have even become tourist attractions. Foreign tourists visit these areas out of curiosity to see the living condition of women there. Even if a girl in Bangladesh does not turn to prostitution, she is likely to marry by the age of 15 or 16. Even if they're not 18, they often use fake documents to show that they are older, and their families receive a dowry in exchange for marrying them off, essentially selling them to older men. On the other hand, Bangladesh is among the countries with very low literacy rate. Academic education is virtually non-existent, and only 3 out of every 10 people in the country can read and write, resulting in low cultural standards, as reflected in the high level of filth in the country. Wherever you go in Bangladesh, you'll find so much trash on the ground that it's hard to walk. Not only is littering common, but spitting on the ground is also widespread and seen as normal among the people. During your travel in this country, you will frequently encounter another unpleasant issue. This cultural difference may seem trivial, but can make you feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Regardless of gender, people often look at you in a way that makes you feel like they're trying to exploit you. Although not purely in a sexual sense, but they give you the impression that they want to take advantage of you and take your money. Of course, some might just be curious about tourists, but generally, you shouldn't trust anyone in Bangladesh. In a country where people work like slaves for $3 a day, most will do whatever it takes to get your money. They won't outright steal from you, but if you clearly look like a tourist, they will try to sell you everything at 3 or 4 times in the real price. Are there any positive aspects in this country? Certainly. Bangladesh has many beautiful museums and temples from ancient Indian empires and countries' founders. Entry to this museum is not free, and the entry fees for local differs from those for tourists. And as you might guess, tourists pay more. If you can't afford a trip to Italy or get a visa for Italy, Bangladesh also offers boat tours similar to those in Venice. Bangladeshi men use personal boats to take tourists around the often polluted and dirty rivers of the country in exchange for money. Another strange aspect of Bangladesh is that in a country where prostitution is legal, alcohol consumption is banned. In this country, buying and selling young girls is not an issue, but consuming alcoholic beverages is considered against social norms and unlawful. We're not defending alcohol consumption, but pointing out the imbalance in social values given special reverence by the people. Consequently, alcohol is not legally sold in Bangladeshi stores. If you're a devout Muslim, you won't need to worry about pork either, as it is prohibited in Bangladesh. The thing that will keep you satisfied as a tourist in Bangladesh is the low cost of food and most services. As you might expect, living in Bangladesh is cheap for a tourist. But the question is how sanitary, clean, or safe these services or products are. In recent years, Bangladesh has consistently ranked among 5 countries with the fastest economic growth. As a result, international business companies that have made significant investments in the country believe that Bangladesh is not a country on the brink of collapse, but on the contrary, a country that by positively leveraging its large population will rapidly progress towards prosperity in near future. Despite all this, the majority of Bangladesh's 165 million people struggle to survive and will do whatever it takes to stay alive. According to unofficial records, nearly 5 million people live on the streets of Bangladesh without homes or identities. Integrating this number of homeless people into society and turning them into productive members of the country is not easy. A significant portion of the population lives in homes that resemble shacks, surrounded by plastic walls, dust, and lacking toilets, bathrooms, and drinking water. Most of these people find their foods among market waste or the garbage from restaurants and hotels. Those who cannot afford train tickets often travel by clinging to the outside of the train, sometimes even trying to get in through the windows. Many areas of the country remind foreign tourists of war-torn regions. And what is even more surprising is that in Bangladesh, a small minority of 1 million people live vastly different lives compared to 164 million others. In simple terms, justice in wealth distribution in Bangladesh is almost non-existent. According to official statistics and reports from international organizations, Bangladesh is one of the worst countries to live in globally. While a country with a large population might still be developed, when you factor in overpopulation, lack of education, poverty, and ideology, the people of that land might never have a chance for a better life. Thanks for staying with me till the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and also press the notification bell. See you on the next video. Bye bye.